help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor. Yeah. Yes, I'm working on a better system. There's been a lot of changes in my procedures of getting it scheduled and making sure to get the word out to remind people. But if you subscribe to the channel and click that little bell, you can get notifications when we go live on YouTube, which we're doing most Monday nights around 6:30 Pacific time. Yes. Faux show. Well, let us faux show get into some faux follow-up. Mike let us know he cannot hear you, Dave. And I could barely hear the music at the beginning. So wonder if there's something. We do want to hear Dave. Well, most of us do want to hear Dave. That's been something I've gotten some feedback on, but I am going to keep him around.
Yeah.
For those picks of the week. Okay. Well, we're get into some follow-up. Last week, Todd had asked, we were talking about Twitter and Tucker Carlson moving his show there and if there was any shows. Well, I did see this week that they have just upped it from 1 hour to 2 hour long videos that you can post to Twitter. And so it's something they're working very hard on. And if you are a Twitter Blue subscriber, you can go up to 2 hours of video now. And
so is this just a new YouTube then? Is that the thing?
Well, that's one of his goals. I mean, his goal is to have a payment platform to do video podcasts. And I've heard some discussion and people said, okay, it's great that you're doing longer video, but we need some other features. And for podcasts like playback speed and background audio or picture-in-picture. So they're working on all of that stuff. I have seen a couple, it seems more like, I was going to say podcast, but what's the difference between a show and a podcast these days anyways? But like Jason Calacanis, who's been involved at Twitter, he's some big venture fund.
I think he's a
tech.
big Elon bootlicker, I think.
Yes, he's got a very popular podcast type show that he does that he's posting on there. And there's a few others. So it's starting to become a platform. I don't know that there's any, TV shows that are, only publishing on there yet.
I doubt
but we'll see where all the video stuff goes on there.
Yeah, cool.
Hey, Mike, can you hear Dave now?
I'm sure he can. There was something wrong on my end, but
oh, there's always something wrong on your end.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes. And our next piece of follow-up, I remembered to put this one in there because we're at the time of the year where we record the day before Apple announces some stuff.
Yeah.
So a week later, we will get that information to you. I guess we should just wait till Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. or whenever they post it. But last week, they announced a few things. You'll remember 2 weeks ago, it was the Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro coming to the iPad.
Right.
Well, there's some new accessibility features. And you can always go to apple.com/newsroom to get their latest news as they put it out. But they're adding live speech, personal voice, and more for new accessibility features coming soon. And you're actually going to be able to create a voice as an accessibility function within iOS and macOS, I'm guessing.
So I've just been trying to think how we could utilize this, and maybe we mentioned it before, but let's just simulate our voices and then just type in the show and hit go, and we can have some talking avatars here on YouTube. And
ChatGPT create some show notes for us, and
we'll do the
just
show,
go
and
for
we'll
it.
just be in the comments commenting along with everybody else.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, so I think it'll take about 15 minutes, and the idea is for those that might be losing speech, like if you have ALS or other conditions, that you would be able to kind of preserve your voice in there. And you read a bunch of phrases like many of the other services, and that does that. But they always have a huge focus on accessibility, and from what we're hearing, it's going to be a very crowded keynote for WWDC, so they announced this a little early. They also announced that they've got some Apple Music live concert information coming in, which I don't really ever use Apple Music, so I don't know.
Now, Nate, you're not a good citizen of the Apple ecosystem.
Yes.
It has.
Well, I subscribe, and every once in a while when I pause my podcast and then go back to listen, it'll play something from Apple Music, which usually gets me to delete the Apple Music app from my phone, but I have kept it on there because I do care about Apple so much.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got a lot of work to do to make Apple a more tempting alternative to Spotify.
Yes. And Chris Kent has joined us as well. Thank you, Chris. So we've got
Kent.
Chris Mike hanging out in there. This next one, I actually saw it a couple weeks ago. So we have talked before about Pluto TV. Mm-hmm. It is they call it a FAST, a free ad-supported television service. And the people at Pluto TV, I actually heard an interview with one of the founders the other day, and he was talking about with Pluto, they looked at it, and we've talked about this frustration before. So the cable subscriptions or, YouTube TV, any of those, you pay them a monthly fee, and then they make a ton of money off ads.
Yeah.
So Pluto said, hey, what if we don't do the subscription part? Could we still make some money off ads? And so they've done $1 billion in revenue. I think they've been around 8 or 9 years now. And I use it all the time. I put on the Love Boat channel when I'm playing Candy Crush and just watch some Captain Steubing in the background. But they've got a ton of different channels on there and movies. There's like kung fu movies or horror movies, whatever you want, you can find a channel on there. Well, anyways, the news now is they are starting a new venture where you can get a free television.
This is what I clicked on earlier. This is called Telly. Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah. So free Telly, TELLY.com. And you can sign up on there. I did as soon as I saw it. And again, listening to this interview, they will send you a TV. And it's a 55-inch 4K HDR. They said it's really a quality TV. It's got 3 HDMI ports, so you can plug other stuff in. Now, the unique thing, it has a sound bar built in under it. And then under that, there is a second screen. Now, a lot of the press coverage was like, oh, it's just going to be ads all the time. You're just going to cover this up, and you're not, you won't even need to watch that. It'll just be a bunch of junky ads. Well, he was talking about this is actually taking basically all the stuff that covers up your TV screen, like the volume control and all the other controls, and what's on and descriptions, along with some ads. That all goes down to this bottom bar. So they're planning on giving away 500,000 TVs this year, and then millions more to come. And they're hoping they can make a successful. I do want to say I think that Pluto TV, that maybe Paramount bought them, so it's kind of under their umbrella. But this free Telly thing, I might be getting a new TV and be able to check it out. But if you want to sign up and get on the list, freetelly.com.
Now, do you know, are there restrictions? Like, do they even have an HDMI input?
Yeah, he said it's completely free to do whatever you want to do. Put an Apple TV into it.
What's their advantage,
video game
then?
System. I think they are hoping, and you think about it, like my TV was $300.
Yeah.
So if they figure, let's say $500 for their thing that they're sending you, that over the life of that television, that they'll get $500 worth of ad revenue from watching Pluto more or getting some ads down on that second screen. So it's hard to know, how it's all going to work out. But hey, if I can get a free TV out of it, free stuff, I'm in.
Indeed, but I am a little concerned about all the tracking that they're going to be doing on the thing, but I guess
you don't think
that doesn't care.
The Apple TV doesn't track you, but any other smart TV. And he did talk about that they are, they've got some stuff in there with some privacy, but they will, all smart TVs, they're tracking everything you watch so that they can sell that data to people. So it did sound from what he was saying that they're trying to be aware of that and the concerns, because that was a lot of the initial articles is, oh, this is going to be a privacy nightmare. And it's like, well, smart TVs are a privacy nightmare. This is just a little bit different of one.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yes. And Amazon announced some new devices. It's been a while since we've had those. Did you get a chance to check those out, Dave?
I did. There was some. They keep going into this. They started out with the hockey puck.
Yes.
And then they went to a carpeted hockey puck.
Yeah.
And then they went to a carpeted ball. And now it looks like they cut the ball at a 45-degree angle and have a puck ball type thing. And then I think what they're going to do next is they're going to do another 45-degree angle so that we have a beveled hockey puck.
Yeah.
And then they'll just go back to the hockey puck, I think. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes. Always trying something different. So they've got, I'm kind of curious, the all-new Echo Buds for $40, an introductory offer. Mm-hmm. And AirPods, similar wireless in-ear headphones. They've got the Echo Pop for $40, the Echo Show S or 5.
It's the
Echo
5.
Show 5 for $90.
That's the one I have, and I think I ended up paying $35 when it was all said and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Echo Buds intrigue me. They look a lot like my Anchor sound cores. I wonder if it's the same company and they're just rebranded or something. But yeah, new stuff. I really thought that the Alexa was dead. I thought they were no longer going to use it because it's such a loss leader. They probably cost $100 to make these things. They sell them for half that, and then they hope that you use their services. Nobody does.
Yeah.
So
that you're ordering your laundry detergent. I mean, somebody must be using it, and Amazon's kind of they want to take over the world. But yeah, I don't use my Echo Dot anymore. Maybe I'll pick up the Echo Buds just to try them out, but I'm 99% sure I'll go back to my AirPods. But they do offer these low-cost options, and I think that is something that's very attractive to a lot of people, especially if they're not necessarily in the Apple ecosystem. It's easy to get a cheap Alexa and have it play music for you or do whatever you decide to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, right now I use it to control my lights that are not Amazon lights and to play music that's on Apple Music. So they're losing money on me, I guess.
Yes, there you go. Well, take it to Amazon. As we keep buying more and more stuff from there. This one you found, Logitech, maker of keyboards and mice and everything else in the world. They're partnering with iFixit for self-repair, so you'll be able to fix your gaming mouse. I think Mike might use a Logitech mouse, but they'll have official parts. Yeah,
I think this is the exact one he has. You can add parts, and there's colors and lights and crazy stuff.
Yeah, the MX Master and the MX Anywhere are going to be the mouse models that will be their first products.
Yeah. So there's a lot of words in this article, but it's the point that we're trying to make here is that iFixit is partnering with them so that you can actually fix these products versus just throw them in the trash.
Yes.
And so that's cool.
Yes, it is. And Chris commented, Amazon toilet paper dispenser. That would be, there you go. Then Echo Dot. And if they get the right shape, you could almost put a toilet paper roll on it and have Alexa built into your toilet paper
They do
roll.
make that little robot that rolls around the floor that has a periscope.
And they could put a weight in it or some sort of sensor to know when the toilet paper roll is getting low and keep track of how many rolls you've used and automatically send you toilet paper. Jeff Bezos, you can have that one for free, buddy.
No, they have the roll in the front of you and another roll behind you, and it just rolls the paper under you.
Oh, there you go. A two-part device. And then it's got a camera to make sure that everything is completed.
Tidy.
Yes. Well, let us move on. So we were talking about the HP ink issue where on a bunch of their printers, they're making it so you can't use third-party ink.
Of course they
also even worse, had a firmware update for some of their printers that you just get a blue screen with an error code, and your printer cannot be used anymore.
I mean,
So
can't we just have things that work?
no, we cannot.
Why does this have to be so complicated? We just need a printer that you buy ink and put in it, and then it prints it on a page. But they've got to go and make everything so complicated. I don't understand.
Yeah.
It seems like it'd be an easy solution. And it's not that printers are brand new. They've been around for 60, 70 years, something like
Yeah.
that. So anyway.
Yes. Yes, and also note to self, group the same brand stories together. We're going back to Amazon, and we've talked about their drone deliveries. Well, it looks like they just made their 100th drone delivery, so they
Where?
are a little bit behind schedule. I think weren't they doing them in like one town in Texas? And
I guess I want to hear. I'm going to install a landing pad.
Lockeford, California is one of them, a 4,000 person town, and they've done 100 deliveries. So
That's terrible.
Yeah, and I guess both Walmart's delivery program and then there's another one. They have both done more. Alphabet's Wing and Walmart partner Zipline have done more deliveries, but they're just run into a lot of roadblocks with the FAA and other things. So we'll see.
There is a medical company. I watched a YouTube video. I think I can't remember who sponsored it. But anyway, they have in India, I believe, or somewhere that's a little more third world that has problems distributing medicines to different places. They have this delivery thing that's done like 100,000 deliveries or something like that. And they have like a little airplane that's on a rail, and it launches it like from a spring.
Oh, nice.
Which helps keep it light with less fuel. And then it can go like 40 miles or whatever and lands at the place, delivers the stuff, and then they have the thing there, and they zoom it back to them. So anyway, it's really cool. But they have dedicated receivers and launching sites. It's
a little more controlled environment. And Chris Kent said Mark Rober.
Oh, okay. But it is possible. I mean, these things, this is going to be our future, where things just show up electronically in a box or on a launch pad or on your roof or whatever, and it's there. And we get packages sometimes here at the door, and Val's like, I went out to get the mail this morning like at 6 o'clock, and there was a package on the door. Did you just order that last night? I said, they have overnight delivery now. I ordered at 9 o'clock at night, and it says, do you want it delivered between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m.? And I'm like, sure, why not? And it's amazing. It's amazing.
It is. OpenAI, some ChatGPT news. They have released their official iOS app. Now, we had talked about there's lots of knockoff apps and everything, and you could just use the website on your phone. But they have an official iOS app, and they've built in Whisper, which is their voice stuff, so you can just talk into it, so it'll transcribe. And I tried it out. It's smooth. It works fast like ChatGPT does, but everybody was pretty surprised to see that they kind of came out of nowhere with an official iOS app, and they are working on an Android app as well.
It is not in alignment with my MO.
Yeah.
But I just have not got into any of this artificial stuff. The chat, I've tried to download the free apps to make like the avatar so they look all handsome and whatever.
Yeah.
But one, I'm already handsome enough. And two, I can never get it to work right, and I give up. I'm just like, I just want to give it 5 photos, make the thing, but every time I do it, it's like, oh, you need to subscribe to this $10.99 a second type thing. Or you have to install all this complicated stuff to make it work, and I'm just like, I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah, I have, I played around with ChatGPT and continue to do so, and have been trying out some different things for, clients, creating ideas of, articles to write or video topics and coming up with lists. And I do have to I know you saw it, Dave, but I've got a note that we'll have to get to one of these weeks. The always bees, the always be
Oh yeah,
charging, and I
I
asked
think I messed it up.
ChatGPT for some answers, but we'll get back to that. I was working on creating my own, and then I was like, there might be somebody that can help me create all of these. So a little teaser on that, but we got to keep moving because this was a heavy
Whew.
tech news week.
Very heavy.
And before we get to any news, we were talking about our bonus odd take, the Wes Anderson Lord of the Rings trailer.
Yeah.
And I saw an article that was talking about the fact that you can't parody Wes Anderson because he is a parody of himself. And, just the fact that he continues to keep going over the top with his style. So doing a parody of it, even though it was very clever to do, Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or the other ones that have been done. But
Yeah.
his last sentence was, he's a parody of himself, give it up. But I still enjoyed it.
That's about right.
And you know what I always enjoy? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
All right. The pro tip of the week this week is inspired by listener Miss Delou. And Miss Delou says, hey, the location thing follows me around sometime. I see the little purple triangle on my phone and it turns on randomly. What's going on? I'm like, well, maybe it's a weather doing it, or I don't know. So I thought today we would kind of take a look again at the location services on iOS devices and how you may or may not be able to disable those. So actually, I'm going to try to use my iPad that's connected up to.
Okay. And quickly, while Dave is doing that, I am not hearing the sounders. Listeners, are you hearing the sounders? Or Dave, are you forgetting to do
No, I pressed them.
sounders?
I can hear them. They're just
Okay.
low. Oh, I know why. Don't worry about it, Nate. I know why. I'll fix it later.
Okay.
So, so a little peek behind the curtain. We do get together before the show, but we somehow forget to test out all these things.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I'm going to switch over now to my iPad so that you can see it on screen. Hopefully, there's nothing private in here. So, what you'll want to do is you want to go into your settings, and then you want to go down to privacy and security. And you'll notice that at the top of your screen, and this is for both iPhone and iPad and all that, there's location services on there. And if you hit that, one, you can turn on and off location services completely by hitting the little toggle. You can set up alerts, so it's going to show you that thing in the menu bar when location is being accessed by an app. Or you can go down and kind of do a purview of all of your apps and what their settings are set to. So I'll go through a couple of mine. So this random alarm clock app does have the permissions that, I don't know why I need that alarm clock app, but it has access to my location while I'm using it. And it probably has a weather component or a time zone component, so it needs to know my location to do those things. So something like a weather app or a fitness app, or I'm trying to think, a photo type app makes sense for those to have location turned on while you're using them. Some of them you may want to do it all the time, like weather, you might want it all the time so that you get like an alert if a tornado is coming or something like that, and it knows where your location is. But there are other apps that really don't need your location at all. So like Best Buy. Why does Best Buy need to know my location? I can type in my zip code in the app and it finds my store, or I can pick the store on a map or something like that. If I leave it enabled, they're just getting data from me. If I leave it enabled all the time, they're
But
following
how
me
can
around.
they push you a notification when you're close to their store to come in and shop the latest Apple products?
And that's exactly what would happen. I would drive by on my way to work and it'd be like a little notification would come down and say, hey, we have a sale on SD cards. You should stop in or whatever. So they follow you around, they track you. And what I think most of these apps do is they bundle a conglomerate of location data from all their customers and they sell it. It's almost as if companies today don't remember what it was like to not sell customers' private data to third parties on their their invoice list for their budget. Because if they don't have that, they're like, oh no, we're going to go bankrupt. Well,
Yeah.
you used to have a business without this information. Make it work. So anyway, that's how you can access it. You can also go just into the sidebar in settings and scroll way down to the bottom where all of your apps are listed. Go into the specific app and you can turn off location there. But I find it more convenient to have an overview of all my location services for all of my apps in that one panel. That's in settings and privacy and security and then location. So if you want to turn it off, that's where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And looking through mine, it's like I've got my smart door lock set to always. And it's like, yes, because I want it to always
Yeah.
unlock when I get home. Or Alaska Airlines, I want
Yeah.
it to know when I get to the airport.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you have that granularity in there that you don't need to. And I should probably turn a bunch of these off because they don't even need it while I'm in there. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Right.
Very nice. Well, let us move on to our takes of the week. And we have, Dave, this one, I'm curious. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Are you part of the 10 million copies that were sold in 3 days?
No, for two reasons. One, I have so many games that I can
Yes.
not play them in a lifetime. Two, I have the game that is Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel to Breath of the Wild. I'm only about 30% of the way through Breath of the Wild, so I kind of want to finish it before I get it. And three, I make it a point to never, ever, ever pay retail for games. I always get them on
yes.
sale. Now that's real tough with Nintendo games because they very rarely go on sale. But I anticipate that once sales go down a little bit for them, which will probably be 2 years from now, they'll do some like Zelda Adventure Sale, $5 off or whatever, and I'll pick it up then. So yeah, I don't have this. But the amazing thing about this story is 10 million copies in 3 days. I think the prequel to this game sold like 30 million in 5 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's-
So they're saying it's their fastest selling title in the Legend of Zelda series, which isn't a huge library, but
Yeah.
I mean, there is just so many Nintendo Switches out there. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and just, they just keep making them. Now, a question for you: are there rumors that there will be any type of new Nintendo Switch coming? Because I was telling this person that it's like, yeah, I probably need to get one of those one of these days.
The rumors have been there since year 2,
Yeah,
and we're in year 6 right now.
yeah,
So every about 6 months, there's a new rumor. It's like, well, we're coming up. It's like July. We're coming up on the holiday season in a few months. So there's some rumors that there might be new hardware this fall. They've done that for 5 years. And then once the holiday season's over, it's like, well, it's the mid-year refresh is coming up this summer.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to have blockbuster games come out alongside new hardware, but it never happens. So as long as Nintendo can keep selling the current Switch,
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep selling
and
the
they're
current Switch.
still selling a ton of them. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's always things that you could improve, but it seems like it works perfectly fine for what it is.
And they do that periodically. There's actually been 3 total revisions of this. There was the original, and then there was a second revision that had a slightly more efficient chip that made the battery last longer. So instead of like 2 hours on a charge, you got like 3 hours on a charge, which was nice. And then they have the OLED model out now, which takes those improvements and adds an OLED screen that's a bit larger and a much nicer view to look at. But the internals inside have not changed
Wow.
one bit, like except for the slightly modified processor. But it doesn't make the games run faster or load faster or anything. It's just a little more
Yeah.
efficient. So
Well, good on you, Nintendo.
yeah, they're whew.
Keep up the good work. And Mike did say in the YouTube chat that he used ChatGPT to help with his resume. So, the possibilities are endless with our new overlords.
We welcome
This
them.
next story should be a surprise to no one. AT&T tries to block Starlink T-Mobile plan for satellite to phone service. So I think we talked about this when I think Elon Musk or maybe T-Mobile had said, hey, we're going to partner together so that if you've got T-Mobile cell service, you'll be able to use Starlink if you don't have signal.
Yeah.
Guess who comes in and doesn't think that's a good idea? AT&T and other rural telcos say that would cause interference.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, of course they're going to say that. Can we be objective and realize that they're saying that because it would put them further out of business?
It is accurate. It's going to interfere with their ability to steal money from their customers.
Are you there, Dave?
Oh, I am. And you can't hear me, so.
Uh-oh.
No, I am here. I tried to make it so that you could have
sound. Okay.
What I was saying is all they're doing is taking away their ability to take money from their customers.
Yes.
It's not going to interfere in any other way. So since they were late to the party on this, they don't want to. They don't want the others to play.
Yeah, and they have a whole bunch of big words about terrestrial spectrum, and applicants fail to even request, much less justify rule waivers that would be necessary to authorize their proposed supplemented coverage from space authorizations.
What does that even mean?
Again, it means that they would not be able to take money from it. Some of these rural telcos, you get 1 megabyte down for $60 a month. I was talking with somebody that uses one, and Starlink has been huge for that. And it would be, as a T-Mobile customer, I would love to have Starlink coverage if I'm not covered by T-Mobile. That would be
fantastic.
Yeah, that would be great, but not if you're. I'm guessing it would be AT&T and Verizon that have an issue with this, along with some of those smaller telcos that are printing money by charging whatever they want to get people internet.
Yeah, so that would be my guess as well.
Yes. In this next one, I saw the Google Pixel phone, so they just released, but there was an article at 9 to 5 Google, not 9 to 5 Mac, which we usually look at, but it was talking about Google will soon let Pixel phones double as dash cams, which I've had this thought before with my iPhone. I've got my dash mount for my phone. It's always sitting there charging. Why can't I have an app that would act as a dash cam with my amazing iPhone camera?
I agree.
And I've looked a couple times and I couldn't find something. I kind of give up after I try a couple out that are a little bit misleading. But maybe I'll have to do a second dash mount for my Pixel phone and use it as a dash cam, because we've talked about, I did buy a dash cam and I just really didn't like the setup of it. And I know there's some good ones out there. A friend of mine on Facebook was posted a story about his son was driving an older teenager, and there was an accident that happened in front of him, and the dash cam caught it all, and they were able to, give it to the police to kind of prove the case. He didn't post the video because he said it was a little gruesome. He's actually a former police officer, so he has some experience in that area. But dash cams can be really helpful for that type of stuff. But being able to use your phone for one more thing and not have to have another device that's somebody's going to break your window to steal when you're not in your car would be nice.
Will your Pixel 3a be compatible with this?
Oh, yeah, my
software?
older Pixel, the Pixel 6a should be, but I don't know about the 3a.
Well,
but
because you're not really using it since you have your 6a, so maybe you could just
well,
live in
I'm
your
not
car.
really using my 6a too often either,
true.
so I could hook up 3 phones if I can get something working on the iPhone.
I suppose so.
But yeah, so I think that's a really great idea, and I hope that Apple thinks about doing something as well, because that would be helpful to have something. It just has to record short clips of video, and then you take the clip that you need if something happens. But maybe there's something out there and I'm just missing it. So if any of you watchers or listeners know of anything or have tried anything with an iPhone, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this next one, a little bit of a fun one here. There's an article from the Wall Street Journal. What the beep? Diehards refuse to let go of their pagers. Now, it gets really curious in the subheadline. Fans, including some doctors and bird watchers, appreciate the simplicity of the once popular devices, even as others move on.
What does bird watching have to do with pagers?
I did not get far enough into this lengthy article about pagers about it, but there is a company, the nation's leading paging company, Spoke, SPOK, says it has at least 800,000 pagers in use across the country. The company had 6.6 million pagers in 2004.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb. I bet 30% of those are pagers that people are paying for that they don't know that they're paying for.
Well, that could be
They're
as
in a drawer
well.
somewhere, and it's like, oh, what's this $10 charge every month that I'm getting?
Yes, and it does say that Dick Philby founded Rare Bird Alert in 1991 to share news of sightings via pager around the UK. Pagers proved to be a solution to the problem of quickly sharing bird sightings with several people at the same time. Yes, in 1991,
What about
that would have been true.
a text message is just as fast?
I'm going to guess by the name Dick Philby that he is not, and the fact that he started this in 1991, that he's not a young chap.
Probably.
And might be technology adverse.
But he's a birder, that's for sure.
Yeah, one of the best pages he remembers sending out was in regard to a long-billed murrelet, a bird that usually lives in Asia, but had been seen off the Devon coast. A mega alert was sent out on the pagers, and people flocked to the area to try to get a glimpse of it.
Pun intended.
Yes, and they now have a phone app, as you could imagine, but some people like the simplicity of the pager.
Well, the only thing I'm disappointed in is you didn't use a British accent when you read the quote.
Yes, well, yes, I have to sparingly use my accents because they should be heard sparingly.
Yes.
Well, one reason you might want to go to a pager is this next story, talking about the re-victimization from police auction cell phones. So there was somebody that went on, I forget what, propertyroom.com, where they do lots of auctions for police departments, and he got got 200 and purchased 228 smartphones. It was actually researchers at the University of Maryland, and they found that 49 had no PIN or passcode, and they were able to guess 11 of the pins by using the top 40 most popular PIN or swipe patterns. So they have these cell phones that police, that weren't claimed, and they bought a bunch of them at the average of $18 per phone, and then they were able to get into them and access all these people's data because they didn't wipe the phones. And so who knows what you're going to get on these phones that they're auctioning off. But
well, if they're confiscated by the police, the person who owns it probably didn't have the opportunity to wipe it.
Yes, well, you would think the police would have some responsibility before.
Really? Would you really think that?
You should maybe think that, but yeah. So it was like half or a quarter of the phones they were able to get into, which is not good. And they've got some charts there of, what was available on those. But man. One phone had full credit files for 8 different people on it. On another device, they found a screenshot including 11 stolen credit cards that were apparently purchased from an online carding shop. On yet another, the former owner had apparently been active in a Telegram group chat that sold tutorials on how to run identity theft scams.
Oh, boy.
So it's not even victims' phones, it's criminals' phones, which they shouldn't get it back, but... Maybe we should wipe those or think about it before just auctioning them off online for a couple bucks.
It makes me wonder, did the police get the same information off of those phones and use it to further their investigations? Or, you know what I mean? Is it a missed opportunity that this third party's able to do it, but the police weren't able to do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because if they knew it was there, they probably wouldn't share it.
Yes. Property Room did not respond to multiple requests for comment, but the researchers said sometime in the past few months, Property Room began posting a notice stating that all mobile devices would be wiped of their data before being sold at auction.
What a novel idea. That's an incredible idea.
There you go. And a little more security and privacy. Our every week ransomware gang. Ransomware gang steals data of 5.8 million with an M PharMerica patients. So We had a medical one last week and another one this week. 5.8 million patients exposing their medical data to hackers.
Yikes. This is not
Full
good.
names, addresses, dates of birth, social security numbers, medications, and health insurance information.
Why? Why can't we just have nice things? Why does everything have to be ruined by bad people?
It is
You're
craziness.
making me depressed, Nate.
Yes. Well, let us cleanse that palate with a bonus odd take. This is one you found. Phil Grishayev discovers locations of famous movies and recreates their scenes.
Yeah. So this is cool. Something that I would like to do, but I would never have the patience or the time or the money, for that matter, to do this. There are just famous scenes in movies, or they don't even really have to be famous, but there's some examples on his website. There's a bridge from Crazy in Love where there's a car burning under it and two of the actors are standing there. Well, he's on the exact same spot with a photo of himself. And
Looking just like Jay-Z.
yeah.
Recreating the poses.
Right. And then Death Wish with Bronson. What's his name? Richard Bronson? Is that his name?
Charles Bronson?
Charles Bronson. I was thinking Richard Branson.
Same
different
person.
person.
Same person.
The Professional, the house that was used in there, which and the angles and everything are very similar. Once Upon a Time in America, the Brooklyn Bridge there in the background.
Jumanji.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
this made me think of a friend of the show, Todd,
Yeah.
because he does his Portland at the Movies podcast with Mark and the Unipiper, and he tries to, he has a map of all the locations of the movies he's covered, little landmarks in these movies, and he's created a map for Portland at the Movies. So I think he needs to start doing this for all of his Portland movies in his spare time. Well, get a VHS ripping and drive off to one of these locations and recreate some pictures.
Now this one here from Godzilla and made me laugh, the 1998 version of the movie that's been remade 5,000 times. But you can see him down here. Maybe that's not him. Maybe that's just a passerby. Oh, which one? He's in it somewhere. Anyway, I just thought it was funny because I thought that was him over there.
Way in the background.
like
But I do notice in 1998 it was a KFC Taco Bell behind Godzilla, and now it's a KFC Carl's Jr. combo shop.
That's a quick eye from PDX Fast Foodie right there.
Yes. The things that I pay attention to. I do also notice is a local traffic czar that if you look to the right where the red light is, in 1998 there was a no left turn arrow, and now it's a no left turn and no U-turn arrow.
Yeah, they've upgraded that. There must have been too many accidents or something.
Yeah, in 21 years, the changes on that street from Godzilla. But yeah, a really fun little site just to look and see these iconic locations. And again, like you said, the privilege to be able to do this
Yeah,
and
flying
travel
all over the
around
place.
and find all these spots and do cool recreations of, great movies. Some of which I've seen, more of which I probably should see. So
I love my movies. That is faux show.
yes, and I do not. But you know what I do love are picks of the week.
There it is. Yes, and you and I were kind of fighting a little bit over this pick. You said some words, and I said some words. We got upset. I made up, and you made up, and we made up together. And so
I compromised.
Yeah, relationships are all about compromise, Nate. That's our little bit of wisdom, relationship wisdom of the week from David Nate. So this pick, speaking of Mr. Lou, I spoke with him about some in-home upgrades to Wi-Fi. He continues to have problems, and I'm like, you don't need better, you need more things. So this is a great plan for those of you who are thinking about improving your home Wi-Fi networks and wired networks and have a little bit of technical expertise, or have somebody in your life that has a little bit of technical expertise.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the Unifi Dream Router. It'll set you back $200. And you're thinking, well, I spent 100 on the thing I'm using now.
Yeah.
It looks a little blown out on my screen here, but it's just this cylinder, and it's got this funky little, very tiny screen that shows you like analytics about your network. It's got the power port. It's got the internet input port, 2 power over Ethernet ports, and 2 standard ports so that you can hook up devices. The Unifi products allow you to connect their wired or wireless security cameras. That it has software on there that will it'll record them to the device. It doesn't record them to a cloud server, so it's all secure and stays in your network. And you can connect other access points throughout your house. And so, for example, I have one here in my garage office. I tried to say that the other day and I failed as well. So I have one here. Let's see. It's right up there, in fact. Just because I can.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I can. There
Zoom.
she blows.
Enhance.
And it's got the little blue light on the top, right where the wireless access point is. And so it kind of covers most of my lower level in my house. And then through the magic of Ethernet cables going through the walls, I have one up in my bedroom on the opposite side of the house, which covers the upper floor and the other part of the house that's blocked by the exterior wall and the heating column for the vents. They're made out of that galvanized metal and no signal goes through there. So, and now my dream of sitting in the backyard, smoking my pipe and reading my news on my iPad has been realized, because the signal out there is super strong. I'm getting like 800 megabits per second in the backyard. Ooh. So it's pretty sweet. But that's my pick of the week. So I guess if you guys have questions about the Dream Router, let us know. But Unifi products from Ubiquiti, I do recommend highly. But they are in the prosumer realm, so make sure you have a little bit of technical expertise to get them set up.
Yeah, and I've been a big fan of TP-Link routers and devices and mesh networks. I've used their stuff just because it was lower priced, and I've had several and set several up. But I've started doing more Unifi stuff for my clients, and you and I have worked on it a lot. And I have a client with 5 different offices, and they finally had these things in stock. They were out of stock forever.
And that's kind of why we haven't talked about them for the longest time, because you can't get the stuff. But now they finally figured out their logistics, and they're available.
And so I got them for them, and you and I actually had to do, they have a limit on how many you can order, which most of our listeners won't have an issue with, but I set one up in my house last week. It's great because you go in the app and do everything, and lots of controls and features that you aren't going to get on something like a TP-Link. And just their user interface has gotten so nice. They're a really great device for $200. If you have any kind of a complex network at home, or even if you don't, this can really help you out.
Yeah, and contact Consist Media if you're local and you need help installing it, or hit us up in the chat and we'll help you out.
Yes, well, my pick of the week this week is a repick, and I had some stories that I didn't talk about earlier that I was saving for this, and I picked this on episode 84, Piggyback on Peggy Bick.
What?
If you remember that fine episode from July 20th, 2017. Now, it had a different name back then. It was called YouTube Red. It is now called YouTube Premium, and I mention this every once in a while when we're talking about YouTube and ads and everything, but YouTube Premium, I've been a member, I forget, it said, several years, well, obviously since 2017. And what YouTube Premium is, it gets you a couple different features.
Okay.
And so you get ad-free and background play, so you don't see ads on YouTube, which always reminds me that I am so lucky to have this, because if I'm using somebody else's YouTubes and they have these annoying ads everywhere, and the background play, so if I'm watching something and I want to close it and go play Candy Crush, I've you've got the picture-in-picture, which I think most people have. You can download videos on YouTube and save them to watch later, and you get YouTube Music Premium because I needed a fourth or fifth music service. But the ad-free alone, and the reason why I wanted to pick it this week is because there was an event this last week where YouTube was touting to advertisers how great YouTube is for people that want to do ads, and that they're going to start doing 30-second unskippable ads when you're watching premium top YouTube content on your television.
Yikes.
30-second unskippable ads. So
it's just like TV, but with more steps.
Yes. And so it was pretty interesting. You can look at the article in the show notes. But YouTube Premium, so it's $9.99 a month. So you have to really calculate the holistic cost.
Oh, hold on. Nope.
Okay.
There we go. There we go. We got it.
Okay. The holistic cost. But if you're somebody that watches a lot of YouTube videos, I mean, you start doing the math on that, and $10 worth of your time and annoyance to be able to do this. Now, Dave, I know when we've talked in the past, you've had ad blockers and a trick if you hold your phone upside down and under your armpit that it won't show the ads and that kind of stuff.
It's much easier than that. Install a plugin and go about your day.
Which I think I saw something that they're obviously, as they would, working to block those plugins to make sure they show you the ads. But anyways, I think if you view a lot of YouTube now, one of the things I went in there to look and I was like, oh, I should make sure that I'm sharing this with my family. Now, YouTube Kids, so Isla's YouTube Kids account, it automatically gets it. But if you want a family membership like for you with 4 adults in your family, it does go up to $23 a month. So you would have to make sure again that's worth it. Add up to 5 family members ages 13 plus. So if they're under 13, they automatically don't have ads.
The other day I was using a different browser or something, and I just wanted to look at YouTube real quick. It was a cartoon picture of a lady on the toilet with like fart dust coming out of it.
Some of those game ads that they have.
I'm like, what am I watching here? And so I'm so glad that I have blockers on mine that block all the ads. And so contact me directly if you are interested in doing that. But I mean, just go into the extension store of your favorite browser and type ad block or YouTube ad block, and something will pop up that'll work. But I was just kind of appalled. It's like, this is borderline inappropriate ad. I guess I should have reported it.
Yeah.
But man, I do not miss watching 30 minutes worth of ads for a 2-minute YouTube video.
Yes. And Chris did ask, are there parental controls? And he also said, I just don't want my kids seeing those ads, which, even when Isla's playing some of the games on her iPad, these ads they're just ridiculous.
Again, companies cannot function today without just scraping all of our data and serving us all this garbage ads. It's ridiculous.
Yes, and I do know on the parental controls, Google has some pretty good parental controls, and like on the YouTube Kids app, you can go into the parent area where you enter the year of your birth or whatever on YouTube Kids to access it, and then you can like Chelsea will, there's some really annoying videos channels, some of these vloggers and stuff on YouTube Kids, and Chelsea will go in and block them so that she doesn't have to listen to Isla watching them anymore. But also a good reminder, look at those parental controls. But if you don't want ads on YouTube, if you want a better YouTube experience, you're going to pay for it. But I have found it very, very worth it. And I don't know if I can do, I'm looking at my membership here, individual membership, $9.99 a month. And I was going to see if there was a way, like if you paid for it by the year, if you would save, but I don't see that. So it does look like it's...
Well, if I had to choose between one of my streaming services or pay $10 a month to have YouTube, let's pretend it costs just to have it, I would probably choose YouTube, because use the content, view the content all the time. We're
Yeah.
on it right now. We're
Yes,
streaming on it.
yeah, and I was curious. I don't know if on the live, I mean, I don't think they jump in, well, especially on our channel, jump into our live to show any ads, but if you see,
No.
but yeah,
Well, after you play it back, they may.
yeah, the playback, you might get it. We're not getting any money for those yet, as we grow the channel, which I will remember people. Remember people? I do remember people most of the time, but I will remind people to make sure that you like the video, subscribe to our channel, and you can ring that little bell so that you'll get a notification to remember when you go live. Because I know when other people are going live, I'm like, oh yeah, I should totally watch that, and then
It's
my
fine to watch it
brain is
after the
onto other
fact,
things.
too,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not everybody's available right at the time. But yeah, I watch pre-recorded live stuff all the time, unless it's like 5 hours. Some
Yes.
YouTubers do it. It's like, I don't want to watch you for 2.5, 3 hours. What's going on?
For a full day,
Yeah.
watch you sleeping. But
Yeah.
so YouTube Premium, if you want either of our picks or many of our other picks, you can always head to notpicks.com, and we've got that new newsletter sign up on there. We haven't emailed anybody yet if you're worried about getting spam too much, but you can join that. You can check out some of the picks if you're looking for gift ideas, if you're looking for some new tech in your life. We have used a lot of technology over the years, and we've chosen some picks since, I think, episode 80 something, maybe even before that, and we're working to get more of them added
Lots of
there.
picks.
Some of them we need to update and say, well, this no longer exists,
Yeah.
or this really isn't that great anymore. Here's something better. But there's a lot of stuff on there. You can leave reviews if there's something you like, all that stuff. And with that, we will wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Share it with a friend, share that YouTube link, like, comment, all the fun things, so that we can all get out there and tech better.